If you are starting a company, or if I are joining a company, the most important thing is to attract great people. I am very interested in knowing how many hours you slept last night. Well, I don't know about 6,565. I think we know part of the answer to this because you were stuck in Place's world for a while, but I mean on a normal day you don't get much more sleep, you look great. But we figure with the amount of responsibilities, with the amount of things you have, these problems still keep you up at night. You think we're on our way to solve them well right now. The only things that really stress me out a lot are the artificial intelligence is always there. And I'm working hard on Text Model 3 production, and we've been making good progress too, enormously hard work, but those are the two most stressful things in my life right now. Where now you normally get up in the morning for me, it's usually around 7, but I got to bed late, so I usually got to bed around 1 in the morning or so, and you start the day with a break fast with just a coffee with water. That also varies with, and I think it's true that having a good break fast is a good idea, but normally I don't have time, so sometimes they prepare it for me, but probably half the time I don't have break fast, I just have a coffee. I do it in a bar of chocolate, and of course I'm fine trying to reduce his wheat things, but I think I should eat a omelette and a coffee or something. Things seems right to me, and sometimes I do it. Whaley are the site of 2 companies, the one of the president of Solar City. Let's talk about time management. How the hell do you do everything well? You get some sleep. If sometimes you don't, I know festive sleeping is very good, because if I don't get enough sleep, I get grumpy. I mean, obviously. I think most people are easy, and I also tried to figure out what the right amount of sleep is because I realized I couldn't fall below a certain sleep threshold because even if I was awake more hours and could maintain it, it could be less because my mental acuity was affected. So in general, I found that the right number for me 6 to 6.5 hours on average per night. That's not so baddy. But that's on average. Some other advice: to run 2 businesses simultaneously means I know you're here on Monday and Tuesday. Yeah, this sweet law, and you're in Silicon Valley and everything SpaceX on Wednesday. And gaming, having a smartphone is incredibly useful because that means you can use email during periods interstitials. For example, if I are in a car or if I are walking or in the bathroom or everywhere, you can send emails practically at all hours when you are awake. It is really useful to have the email for space exists, the integrated in my model, and then you have to put in a lot of hours to really work like this. Which the way I usually do it is I gotta work at SpaceX on Monday, and then on Monday night I fly to the San Francisco Bay Area and then spend Tuesday and Wednesday in the Bay Area, then in Tesla, and then our return flight on Wednesday night happened on Thursday and Friday. Especially the last few months, flight back here on Saturday, and it happened on Saturday and Sunday, and Tess Orith happened on Saturday before and on Sunday in Express and Cias, and where children fit. You have 5 children. Some of them. I'm sure you've heard it before, but it's worth emphasizing again. I think the first is that you have to work depending on how well that you want to do it, and particularly if you are starting a company, you need to work higher. And that means super hard. When my brother and I started our first company, instead of renting an apartment, we rented a small office and we slept on a couch and we showered in the gym. And we had a computer, so the website was on. He works during the day and I coded at night, 7 days a week, all the time. I was a girlfriend for a while during that period. And then to be with me, he had to sleep in the office. So work hard, that is, to say every hour you are awake. That is what I would say, especially if you're starting a company. And I mean, if I use some simple math, let's say that if another person is working 50 hours, and this day you will not be able to make twice as much in the course of a year as the other company, the other thing. What I would say is that if I were creating a company, or if I were joining a company, the most important thing is to attract great people, so you have to join a group that is amazing, that you really respect, or if you are creating a company, you have to bring together great people. Believe me, in everything that the company is a group of people who have come together to create a product or service, and depending on how talented and hardworking that group is, and how well focused they are as a collective in the same direction, that will determine the success of the company. So do everything you can to bring together great people. If you're creating a company, then I would say that you focus on the signal above the noise. Many companies get confused. They spend money on things that do not improve. When they see Vittoria, for example, in Tesla, have never spent money on advertising. We put all the money in and more than in manufacturing and design to try to make the cart the best possible. And I think that is the way to go there. For any company, you just have to think about whether these efforts that people are spending are leading to a better product or service, and if not, for those efforts. And then the last thing is not just to follow what to overcome. You may have heard me say that it's good to think in terms of the physics approach to first principles, which is more than reasoning by analogies to reduce things to the most fundamental truths that You can imagine and reason from the re, and this is a good way to find out if something really makes sense or if it's just what everyone always thinks. It's hard to think like that. You can't think like that. Everything takes a lot of effort. But yes, it's about doing something new is the best way to think. And that framework was developed by physicists to understand counterintuitive things like quantum mechanics, so it's a really powerful method. I think the last thing I would encourage you to do now is the time to take risks. You don't have children? Well, probably not. You have children, but as you get older, our obligations increase, and once you have a family, you will start to take risks, not only for yourselves, but also for your families. It becomes much more difficult to do things that might not work on. It was the time to do it before of having those obligations. So I encourage you to take the risk. Do something bold. You won't regret it. Thank you.